What's up? Your boys is back. Um, how's it going, fellas? Any plans? Any good plans this weekend? What was going on?
Um, Chilling. Not much sports on. School's about to start back up, so ready for that.
Y'all about to be in person?
Yeah, man. It's a,
Yeah, most of them is in person. And then for my student teaching, all the USD 259 people are in person, so we should be lit. We should be good.
Yeah. Well, where you gonna be student teaching at?
North High School in Wichita, Kansas.
Mm.
My sister's alma mater. I went there for a year.
Yeah, your old soccer grounds. What's up, bro? What was you on this weekend,
that's
Braxton?
what's up. Congratulations on that, bro. Man, this weekend I had the incredible honor, man, of seeing one of my best friends go down the aisle, bro. Shout out to my dog, Dooney Red, Jared Harris, and his beautiful bride, Ebony Paul Harris. To
Congrats to
Harris.
them.
If you saw the Snapchats, it wasn't me. If you saw it was not me. But nah, it was a good time, man. Got to see some family. I'm tired still. We recording this on a Tuesday, and we shut everything down
Mm.
Sunday at 3 a.m. So I've been back to the grind ever since. But no, man, congrats to them.
Yeah, congrats to
Ready to
them.
get it rocking.
Congrats to them for sure. So we're gonna open up today's episode with the Olympics. Overall, I'll say the Olympics. The coverage on it was pretty bad, to be honest. Like just being able to access the events in different games was just too much of a hassle. I don't feel like a lot of people, especially Americans, really got to watch a lot of, especially the track and field events, the basketball games. They're trying to get us to subscribe to Peacock, and I definitely was not paying to watch anything. So I think they just. I don't know about y'all. My experience for the Olympics this year really wasn't as it usually is.
No, and it's funny you say that because a lot of that stuff. It was crazy that they tried to do the whole Peacock thing, and even when I went back in 2018, like Peacock wasn't a thing. So like everybody was saying like they were able to watch. Like I'm over there working doing blase, but everybody back home was saying, oh yeah, we get to watch all these events in XYZ. So it wasn't like that. But then now that they
Yeah,
started the Peacock and the evolution of streaming, like I'm the same way. Like I couldn't I don't know how many men's basketball games I actually got to watch live because I didn't have Peacock, and they came on at crazy hours of the
Yeah.
day. So like I don't know, it was weird, but I definitely they learned something, and somebody else who's trying to get them broadcasting rights, they might try to take over. So we'll see.
Yeah, they was trying to recoup some of that money from losing the year, having to
yeah,
push it back. They was trying to
Nice.
scratch and claw for every penny. I wonder what the concessions was like. I could imagine the concessions were, devastating to the people that actually went. Um, but I'm glad they actually put it on. They got through it. It looked sus at the beginning with the COVID
yeah,
protocols and all that, and whether they was going to let them go or not at all. So I'm glad they actually got through it. And Twitter, Instagram,
yeah,
you see the clips, as much as you can, and then you can read about it later. But the coverage wasn't the
yeah.
best, I would
So
agree.
speaking of like the beginning of the Olympics, before we even got started with the Olympics, there were a lot of things going on with the rules of the Olympics and a lot of procedures, how they was going about things, and how it was really like they were trying to keep um, women of color kind of not out of the Olympics, but they were definitely having a lot of difficulty allowing them to be themselves. Um, so that would raise a lot of controversy. But during the Olympics, Simone Biles, everyone knows the story about that by now. How she opted out of a couple of her events just to deal with her mental health. And so, Braxton, how you feel about that?
Man, I think Simone Biles is still the baddest
Yeah,
motherfucker in the game. Like she's the goat, and the thing about it is, I felt like I have a lot of thoughts on this, so I've had a lot of time to really think and really reflect about it. And we have a weird situation in this country of policing women of color especially when we want them to perform for us. And I think the same can be even said with the Sha'Carri Richardson situation, how people were quick to speak for her and not let her speak for herself. Simone Biles is the best gymnast to ever touch the floor. Anybody in Team USA will say that. Anybody in the cross world will say that. She deserved to be at this Olympics. She was the highest scoring in the U.S. trials, in the Olympic trials, excuse me. That's how you qualify for the games. You go and you compete, and the best person will go. She had the highest score by far. Judges were having to judge her harder to make it fair for everybody else. What she described as having the twisties, her mind cannot sync with her body. She's trying to do. She has multiple moves named after her called the Biles, right? Different on the floor, on beam, on the bars, because nobody else can do them. She does these moves in her sleep. When she's telling you that she cannot connect the key to the ignition to make her body do what she wants it to do, she has every right to be able to sit out because honestly, when you're doing all that, it's a life or death situation. What bothered me the most is, yes, she decided to take some time back for her mental health. We, everybody else wanted to speak up for her in that situation. Keep in mind, Simone Biles, if you haven't seen Athlete A, the documentary about Team USA Gymnastics and the investigation and how they found out about the sexual assault by Dr. Larry Nassar, it's a great documentary. Simone Biles was in that documentary. She wasn't interviewed, but she was on the team at the time. That 2016 team that went to Rio, she won, and she was one of the headliners there. She's been a part of Team USA Gymnastics her entire life. She's been a part of having to carry on this legacy, this dirty legacy that they still talk about, because all she wants to do is compete and represent her country. So she's had that on her shoulders as well. And so we as people, as spectators, can't just say, we want you to flip. You need to flip. And my problem was a lot of people were quick to compare her to their little league basketball team. It was a coach that I saw on Twitter, and they were all sub tweets. Nobody wants to tag. My team would never give up on each other. My team this, my team that. Your team took second in Kansas basketball.
This is
This is a world class gymnast at the Olympics.
This has been there, done that for her as well. I mean, this is.
Bro,
I mean, as crazy as
you seen the picture with the medals,
but it's kind of like that for her.
yeah, and it's what she does. Another thing, what made me mad, and so the mental health aspect of it is all those tweets and the comments about Simone Biles being weak, being soft. She probably never saw those. But somebody that you know, if you posted one of these messages, somebody that you know who's struggling with mental health knows that they cannot go to you now, which is cool. You showed your true colors. Somebody who may be dealing with something, who can say, maybe I got to go to coach or talk about it. They no longer will feel comfortable going to you because of how you degraded a world-class athlete. Point number 2, and I'm going to get off the mic. I told my I'm going to talk tonight. There's an Olympian that was over there by the name of Alan Hadzik. He was an alternate on the fencing team. He had been suspended for sexual assault allegations. They made an entire different plan for him to be able to travel and compete with Team USA so that his female competitors could feel safe after they said they didn't want him at the games. An open sexual assault investigation is going on, yet he still gets to travel on a separate plane. He doesn't get to be anywhere around women. We did all that to make sure that this dude, who's an alternate on the team, could go to Tokyo. But we weren't near as mad about that.
If he would have won, I don't know if he won or not, but if he's found guilty, they would have taken back the medal. Why?
Yeah.
You know.
But you have somebody who says, I got to do this for me. I literally can't work my mechanics correctly.
It's sad, but
yeah, exactly. So. But no, that's all I got, man. It was crazy. Shouts to Mo. She came back and got the bronze. That's the biggest story for me. I'll give her all the flowers, man. She got them.
I mean, I think he said a lot of great points that we needed to discuss. So I'll just keep it, Olympics. She's only 24. So, I mean, the girls that are up there are probably still terrified, for another 4 years. She's a prodigy. She's been doing this all her life. She was a 4-time gold medalist last year. She is the GOAT. So I thought it was nice that Jade Carey, her USA teammate, her floor teammate, she was able to take gold in her place. And then a young lady from Brazil named Rebecca Andrade, she took her gold that she didn't have this year. And then Guan Chinchin, she took the gold in beam when Simone won the she got the bronze. So I think it's nice for those young ladies to get an opportunity to win. I'm sure in the next 4 years, it'll be a
Yeah.
nice comeback trail. As a fan, I was sad that she ended up not competing, but we saw a similar situation with Naomi Osaka. It's a lot of pressure on these girls. Pressure is it's pressure and at your
Not the
job.
same.
But that ain't Olympic pressure.
Yeah.
People fold under that kind of pressure.
People quit on their 2K games.
Man,
It people quit on the 2K games, Madden game. Pressure is a motherfucker, and hats off to her for being able to strive through things like this. This is why athletes like Serena Williams, LeBron James to come up from nothing and never have a mark, never get caught up with the police or something like that, and for her to still I mean she's the gold standard. So
I mean, y'all basically covered it all, but just to add on to that a little bit, it's just like, we all play football as football athletes. You always got that mentality of like, we got to get through this. Like, whatever you're going through, you got to get through this, whether it's a sprained ankle, you know, you might even, head might be messed up. You might be going through some things at home. It's like, yeah, them coaches still want you to get out there and still play.
concuss,
And I just want,
yeah.
like the younger athletes to know, like, if you feel like, you can't go, your mental not right, you don't owe nothing to these coaches. You don't owe nothing. You got to make sure that you're okay first, and make sure that that your mental is just
but
right. Like,
what?
if you're not able to perform at your best level, you're not helping out your teammates anyways. If you're out there, like let's say you are playing football and I'm playing tackle, and my mind's not on the game and my mind's not right, I might get my quarterback hurt. So that's not fair to the rest of my team for me to go out there in that state and put the game at risk and put my quarterback and the safety of everybody else at risk too. So if any young athletes out here hearing this and y'all feel discouraged and y'all want to take a mental health break, go ahead, go for it. Make sure that your mind is right. Opening up that space to talk that Simone Biles did is just great in itself. For her to come back and still win bronze, going through all that, still being in the headlines after opening up, still a great deal thing. So she did it. Yeah, so
Yeah, wakes up out of the bed and gets bronze. What a freak.
yeah. Bro, you don't know what's crazy? I seen a
Bro,
study.
and
Yeah,
bronze, like, this ain't just bronze. This bronze
top
at
of the
the Olympics,
ladder,
So I
bro.
something like
seen
Like,
that.
a
It
I
that's
seen a
costs like
study
two hundred
crazy.
today
people to get you.
That's
on Twitter,
crazy.
and it was like somebody asked like 1,000 Americans
Yeah.
if they think they could compete in the Olympics, and 40% of the people said they could compete in the Olympics. 40% of the people out of 1,000, and then
Forty
they said
percent.
that if what
Forty
sport would they
percent.
participate in? They said basketball,
Doing
soccer,
what?
and swimming.
The first two are
Come on, bro.
like I can see how like a blind person, like not an actual blind person, but somebody that's just blind, like walking through the world, could think they could swim faster than somebody on the but the basketball and the soccer are
Basically,
incredibly shocking. So you think you can play in the NBA?
but
Right. No. And really, the swimming, bro, it was one race. It is in the swimming that
No
all
black
three of
people
the
answered yes
medal
to that
placers
poll.
beat the world record, like at the Olympics.
Niggas
no,
wasn't
First,
up
not at
there like,
all.
yes, I could beat niggas in swimming.
oh
No.
no, because
Yeah,
we
but just like
absolutely
so.
not. No, mm-mm,
Like I was
not
saying
at
at
all.
first, how the Olympics was trying to
Katie
keep
Ledecky, you
the
got
women of
it.
color
Hey,
down, kind of.
you got it.
On this platform, I want to be able to express our love and our gratitude for the women of color, whether it be Black, Asian, American, um, Latino American, all of that. Just because in this space, they're kind of looked over a lot, they're not talked about a lot. So with this platform and it being mine and being ours, I know that we want to be able to give them a voice, and have them celebrated. So with that being said, Athene Mo was the first American to win gold in the 800 since 1968. Black woman. Um, Suni Lee, she won gold in the all-around Olympics event. She took Simone Biles' place, won gold. Asian American woman, and she won bronze in the uneven bar. So she took home 2 medals. And then Tamara Stock, she was the first American black woman to win gold in wrestling. And then we have Allison Felix, the great Allison Phoenix. She passed Carl Lewis as the most decorated track athlete. Yep, with 11 medals.
The great Carl
So
Lewis.
shout out to the whole 4x4 team as well, not just her, but for getting gold. But it's just some good accolades coming out of the Olympics as it looked dim to begin the Olympics, but they still came through and put on for us, put on for everybody. So shout out to them for sure.
Miss
Jersey
is from Trenton, New
19.
Jersey. She is 19.
Crazy.
She's only 19. Set the record for the under 20 continental record. Suni Lee she went from the Olympics straight to Auburn. Now she's competing for Auburn Olympics. And then Tamara Mistock, she's from Chirac, moved to Texas. She's 28. She went to Wayland Baptist University. I don't know if y'all know where that is because I certainly fucking don't.
Yeah.
She had to strive, work hard to get where she had. I'm sure she was very menacing up there in wrestling.
Especially
So,
Alex and Phoenix, especially being dropped from Nike after she was pregnant, and then this that comeback story is really crazy. They all have their own stories. If y'all interested, go look them up. They have a lot of interesting stories about dealing with adversity and overcoming. So shout out to them strong women. So let's talk about Team USA. There was a lot of doubters to begin with. I'm not gonna cap. I said they was buns for losing to who they lose to in the first round? France or Australia?
France.
Yeah. But I mean, even I said
they lost the very first game when Nigeria got in Vegas before they even went out there.
They for sure looked sketchy to begin with, but we still have the best players, but definitely looked sketchy to begin with. And then Katie led them to a gold medal. They really came over with some adversity. I respect this medal a lot because they didn't just run through everybody. They had to fight. Yeah. They had to come back from deficits in the second half. They only won the gold medal game by 5 points. They was really had to get scrappy. Not even our best team came out there and won the gold. So shout out to them.
And it always is for Team USA. If you lose even an exhibition game or even the first round game to France, you should have won the game. And if you win, we sitting here saying we thought they was going to win because we did and they should win.
Yeah.
And the world caught up not so much. I agree with Kevin Durant there if y'all saw that interview. And I was pretty upset not to see some more Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen action on Evan Fournier like they did Kukoc. He was talking shit and he kind of had a decent game.
Yeah.
I felt they could have put a little bit more pressure on him, but we'll see what happens in the NBA. We'll see if they give him a hard time.
Yeah, and even then, I think that one of the things about it that Team USA is always going to run into is that they're 90. I mean, look at the layoff from the NBA Finals to the Olympics to have Book and Middleton literally get on a flight after the game. Middleton was at the parade, I think. I don't even know if he went to the parade, got on a plane to Tokyo to join Team USA so that he can get hoop. And that's always going to happen. Kevin Durant, I mean, even then, when I found out he committed to play for the Olympics this year, I was kind of surprised because he had, was kind of banged up in the playoffs, but just kind of he got back. That's a problem that Team USA is always going to run into with the Olympics. It's always going to back right into, and you're going to have, Lord willing, the best players on those finals rosters that are going to make the jump.
2
So
or 3.
yeah, 2 or 3 at least. So then but then you said Kevin Durant. I think he did what he had to, and I get the conversation. I think we got enamored with Luka a little bit. Don't get me wrong, Luka was hooping like international. International Luka is that's a bad dude
I
right
think he
there.
had
Yeah.
18 assists in the game they lost the last week.
Yeah,
Like that.
like crazy. Like Luka,
17
and
and 1
I
or
think that's the
something,
matchup
right?
everybody wanted was that
That's the
Slovenia
record.
USA matchup just to see how Luka would do. But I definitely think that the conversation about the rest of the world catching up and like I think that's correct to an extent, but I still think at the end of the day, the U.S. basketball team is always going to be head and shoulders above the international competition when they put that team on the floor. Because this was really they left some guys out. Like
I
there
feel
was some
like
No
the
dudes
Bron.
who should have been. No Bron,
for
Steph
sure,
didn't
for sure.
play. No James. Like it's like
No James
you really
Harden,
could
no
have had
Steph.
some guys, but Pop chose who he
Yeah,
chose.
yeah. But I feel like the team. I mean, not Team USA, but I feel like the
Oh
world is
yeah,
kind of like catching up. Like there's some stars all over the like.
yeah.
Jokic was MVP this year over and then Joel Embiid is originally from Africa. That's where he was born. So and he one of the best players in the league. Giannis back-to-back MVP. Luka. So there's a lot of players around the world that's coming up, and basketball is a global sport. But it's just like this is where basketball was made, so they still have a while to catch up, like all the way. Um, but still, there was a lot to talk about. Kevin Durant he
And
can't
it's
lead a
still
team.
yet
He
to be
can't lead a team.
proven.
It's like
And it's still yet to be
it's
proven.
literally Team USA.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Like it's literally Team USA. They can lead them.
If he
I
had to
So let
mean,
me.
motivate any
he's
of
the
them
best
to
player on the
play,
team,
it's
but
a
like
sad day for Team USA basketball.
I don't think he had to motivate. I think he was like, all right, y'all not gonna do it. Give me the ball and get out of my way. That's what he did. So okay, let me ask you this then:
yeah,
Olympic Melo or Olympic KD?
KD, yeah, he's a better player.
Olympic KD.
I mean, but USA,
KD. You seen like
right,
the points in the closeout games, in the goal
right.
games.
Yeah,
He
29,
done
30,
like
and 30.
buckets in
That's
the
the
goal
three
games.
games.
So
Yeah, because Melo had been
yeah,
a staple on Team USA
something like that.
basketball, and a lot of people wanted
Absolutely.
him on the roster this year. But nah, I
Love
don't
to
know. I
have him
wish he
on
would
the
have got one
Lakers.
more burn.
Yeah.
Dang, them boys about to be crazy. Well, poor Dennis. We'll get there in a minute.
So just getting into some quick NBA talk real quick. Kemba Walker to the Knicks um, off a trade. So what does this make New York? Makes them
Yeah, it's a lateral
about
move
the
for me. Don't get me wrong, I like him a lot, but I just don't know. Again, you got to show me what it does. Julius Randle obviously had a big year last year. RJ Barrett, I think, was getting his feet actually comfortable in the NBA, not just kind of a wide-eyed rookie. Obi Toppin fell off the face of the earth. I hadn't seen him do a damn thing, but I like it to an extent that there's a facilitator in MSG in the Knicks uniform and Kemba Walker. We know what Kemba does in
yeah
MSG. Dude is crazy there. But again, from an Eastern Conference standpoint, does it move the needle for me? No, because the Knicks weren't even with the Celtics. They weren't even with the Heat. They weren't even with the Sixers. They damn sure aren't with the Nets. So it's like it's a lateral move. It makes them better. Don't get me wrong. Kemba adds pieces, but it's also like I'm not expecting them to come out of it to hit the Eastern Conference Finals by any stretch of the imagination. They're still so much above them. They might win a few more games. They're not with the Hawks either. Excuse me. No disrespect to Trey in the game.
yeah
It doesn't for me. It doesn't do too much. It doesn't do too much right now. Show me first.
yeah.
Yeah, I go ahead. Go ahead. My
Yeah,
fault.
same for real. Uh, same for real. It's like I can't really believe into the Knicks until Julius Randle and RJ Barrett learn how to use anything with their left hand. Like
The boys are strong with that left.
Julius Randle looked,
Boy.
yeah. Julius Randle looked like a shell of himself in the playoffs. RJ Barrett he's a good player, but he hasn't panned out to be the third overall
Man.
pick yet. He still has time though. He's still young. They have a couple of guards. They have Derrick Rose still. Emmanuel quickly is
Yeah.
pretty good. I like him, but it's still. I mean, they still have a lot of building to do.
Um, Definitely
Still have a lot of building to
lateral.
do.
I think the Bulls might be better now than them. The Heat are definitely better. I think Philly's still better
Yeah,
even
for
without
sure.
Ben Simmons. They need to get rid of Ben Simmons to Portland, to Golden State to somewhere. But I think the Hawks are still better. I think it's a nice pickup. It's good to see Kemba back and MSG. Like Brax said, he has that classic Big East moment where he drops old boy and hits the game winner. So I'm glad to see that. I like
Yeah.
Kemba. Not the greatest player in the world, but a good player nonetheless. So
Yeah. So this is the definition of keeping it real goes wrong, or even playing yourself. Dennis Schroeder signs a 1 year deal for $5.9 million to the Boston Celtics. When the Lakers originally offered him a deal worth around $20 million a year for 4 years. He turned it down because he wanted 120
100.
million, and now
Who do
he's
you think
getting
you kid
five
out? Chelsea
million
Clinton?
for 1 year to back up Marcus Smart.
Hey.
To back up Marcus Smart. That wasn't a very smart move because I mean,
I don't. I don't know. This is just inflated. Ended up settling for with Boston for 5.6 and some change. Not even 6 million a year. Um, he's a great backup point guard for every team. I don't think he. I don't. I think if you are a young team, you probably have a young point guard that you want to develop, and you want him to come off the bench and help mentor him. If you're a good team, you have a good starting point guard, and you want him to come off the bench to back him up. He's delusional, inflated. I mean, good luck to him. Hopefully, he does well in Boston.
Like somebody said, this is what happens when betting on yourself goes wrong. Everybody can't be Fred VanVleet and get that bag, but to me, I don't know why you would turn down a chance to play with Anthony Davis for the next 4 years. Like we talked about last week, that the core of what the Lakers have done has proven to work. It's proven to be championship caliber when healthy. You get paid $84 million over 4 years to go and win. You probably in the conversation at least 3 out of those 4 years. Like you're in the conversation every year, but you're probably, you know, walking away with a Larry B 2, maybe 4, two out of the 4. I don't know, depending on how you look at it. What are you doing walking away from that? Like it's
going to Boston.
LA. You go now. Now
Maybe it
look
was
at you.
that
And now, don't get me
that
wrong.
state tax in LA, 13%, almost 12 million on that 84 million.
Maybe. Hey,
Still more than
hey,
six.
still more than six. He was paying more in taxes than he
Yeah.
gonna make. No, I don't know.
God
Hey man,
damn,
but
oh dang.
Duke could ball out. He could ball out this year. He could ball out and get the 100. It's
It's
gonna
gonna
take a
take a
lot,
lot.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
it's gonna take a
not like
lot,
I'm not
man.
gonna sit here and act like he not worth like he worth like a good
No,
like
he nice. He nice.
he worth like 100 million. Like there's a lot of players in the league that's getting paid
Otto
100 million.
Porter
That's not
once got
even as
paid
good as
100
getting close
million.
to be. Yeah,
I don't know if he's in the league anymore.
not close to Dennis Schroeder. But he just made a bad business decision. At the end of the day, he just
Yeah,
made a bad decision. Like hopefully it works out for him though in the long run. But
yeah.
maybe if he re-signs to the Lakers, he might be in Washington with Kyle Kuzma. So maybe he dodged the bullet with that.
Man,
They ragging on Kuzma.
Just on a couple other NBA news. Luka Supermax 200 was it $207 million Supermax. Steph Curry $215 million Supermax. KD extension with the Nets for 195 million. The bag is real in this basketball. If
oh
Luca is
yeah.
the obvious
ooh
winner. No state tax in Dallas.
yeah,
Steph
for
Curry,
sure.
that same 13%. I don't know what it is in Brooklyn. I'm sure it's high, but what you gonna do?
Yeah. I mean, the thing about Luka is like, y'all got to get some talent around him now. Good luck, because
Right.
I don't know about
Yeah.
Porzingis.
Trash. Dog water.
Yeah, he can.
Made of plexiglass. But
He's not that guy.
so now the basketball season over. We're going to get straight into the NFL, and we're gonna get into college football eventually. But this week we'll talk about NFL. First, we'll start off with the NFC. We're gonna go through each division, talk about a couple teams, and we'll each predict who's gonna win each division in the NFC. So first, we'll start with the NFC West with the Seahawks, the Rams, the Cardinals, and the 49ers. This is easily the best division in football. I can see all four of these teams making the playoffs, to be honest, in the NFC. The NFC is kind of weak now, kind of weaker than it has been in the previous years. But for the Seahawks, they had a lot of offseason issues, just with Russell Wilson wanting to add more pieces to his offense, to his team, and they still haven't even signed back Dwayne Brown, their left tackle. He still hasn't practiced yet. He's still having complaints about that, and it's just a whole lot of things that's not with on the football field that they're dealing with right now. They do have Jamal Adams for another year though, so their defense should be better, but I will not pick them to win this division. To win the division, I do like the Cardinals, but not to win the division. I had to see Kyler Murray take that step that like Josh Allen took last year. Just got to take that next step and get better within the next year. Even though they re-signed AJ Brown, there's a lot of not AJ Brown, AJ Green, excuse me. A lot of tread on them tires, but if he can go out there and still make some plays, that's going to be a dangerous offense with him, D Hop. Who they signed? They just signed somebody at running back. I have to look and see, but James Conner. They still got Kenyon Drake. So they're gonna have a good offense, and then they signed J.J. Watt. Him and Chandler Jones, opposite side of each other. I mean, it's old, but it's gonna be
They're having
effective
some
if
problems
they can
with
stay on the
Chandler
field.
right now.
Yeah, talking about his money,
Yeah,
right?
Chandler want a little bit of chicken.
Yeah. So and then the Rams.
Man.
Of course, the Rams, they getting Matt Stafford, which is a huge upgrade from Jared Goff, if you ask me. But Cam Akers is out for the season.
Tragic.
Yeah,
Tragic for fantasy.
Right.
he was a very good young running back. He was definitely gonna have a breakout year, if you ask me. But at the end of the day, a running back, you can kind of fill the void with a running back with other running backs, do it by committee, and get a good running game going. It just won't be Cam Akers would have took it to a different level. But I do like them not re-signing, but bringing on Deshaun Jackson as a deep threat on their offense, just because I think that's what they've been missing is like a deep threat, someone that even with Jared Goff, he didn't really have the strongest arms, but with Matt Stafford now, it's somebody who can just throw it deep if they beat the coverage. He's a burner, so they would be good. Of course, they have Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald. Defense is going to be locked down on each side with them two on the field. So, with all that being said, I'm taking the 49ers to win this division. They'll
You certainly got me. You certainly got me. You certainly got
Yeah, he did.
me.
I thought he was just running down the list. I'm like, oh, okay.
So with Nick
okay, I'm
Bosa
interested.
coming back,
I'm interested now.
their D line is re-energized. Yep, at a V. They drafted the rookie last year at D line. What's his name again? I have to go look. But then they re-signed their linebacker Fred Warner. Their DB group was usually pretty good. Their defense is going to be stout as usual. I think they would win this division if they end up putting Trey Lance in earlier than if they expect.
I was about to ask.
Jimmy Garoppolo, he's a good
AQ?
quarterback. He just can't stay healthy. So I envision sometime during this season that Jimmy G will get hurt around week 8, week 9. Trey Lance comes in and takes over. Yep, adds a different element to this running game. He can run the ball. He can run power O.
Yeah.
And Kyle Shanahan is one of the best schemers for running the ball. His teams always run the ball very, very well, and they have good running backs. O-line, they re-signed Trent Williams, and they have the best tight end in football with George Kittle. Two weapons with Deebo Samuel and
Did you watch the Super Bowl?
You heard me right, brother.
Did you watch the Super Bowl?
And Brandon Ayuk. They have a good team. That's who I'm picking to win the NFC West.
Go ahead, Brax. Talk to him. Talk to him about the Niners.
You want me to go, man? I'm gonna let him finish. The Niners are deep in a lot of key positions. I'll give you that. I do think that Trey Lance has the ability of all of the quarterbacks in this draft. Trey Lance has he's stepping into the best opportunity to me with Kyle Shanahan, with an experienced offensive line. He doesn't have to come in and start week one like a lot of these guys are going to, a la Trevor Lawrence, a la Justin Fields. Like, those guys are going to have to get beat up as rookies before they find their experience, before they find their stride. The Seahawks, I like the Seahawks a lot. I think Russell Wilson is one of the best quarterbacks in the game when he's on. He has to be on, and he still has targets like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett downfield that really were a crazy tandem last year. Chris Carson at running back is somebody that to me has been, after his days at Butler, you saw him go to Oklahoma State and ball out, and then he got into the league. Yeah, and then he's always continued to ball out. The Rams, again, the defensive front that is, Aaron Donald and them boys is crazy. I like Jalen Ramsey. I think Jalen Ramsey has a breakout year this year. I think he's overdue for one. I think last year he showed that he is the best corner in the game, but I think he has another notch to take it. And we'll see that a lot. You tell me. And like you said, this is the most competitive division. This is the most competitive division in football. So he's going to get tested week in, week out. But I'm going with the Cardinals. I'm going with the Cardinals. I think Kyler Murray takes that step this year. We've only seen a constant progression from him. A lot of people wanted him to play baseball. I will take the Cardinals. Because I do like that defensive front, that Chandler Jones, J.J. Watt, Brandon Phillips out of circle here in Kansas. That defensive front is going to be crazy. And then on the offensive side of the ball, Kyler, I like that 1-2 punch there. It's going to be interesting to see just kind of what they put together on the field. I'll go Cards, but the Seahawks to me they're going to be battling at the top.
I'm shocked. The Seahawks, they have the best quarterback in the division, and to me, it's not all that close. Russell Wilson is probably the fourth best quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. Their O-line is awful. It has been for a while. Sometimes they can run it, sometimes they can't. Their defense is highly suspect. The 49ers, I like Trey Lance. Not sure if he's going to be able to step in and do much. The 49ers were the 31st team in turnover differential. They forced 20 turnovers and turned the ball over 31 times. I don't know if they get that much better. They run the ball, but I mean, how many times can you run it until a team, they have good coaches in the NFC, the Pete Carrolls, the McVays, they can scheme up ways to stop it. Kyler Murray, I like him. Can he stay healthy? I think he will take another step, but that can only be derailed whether or not he's healthy. I like the J.J. Watt addition if he has anything left in the tank. They need to pay Chandler that chicken. He said he wants the family pack, to quote the great Murder Mook. And they had the number 6 offense with Nuke Hopkins. They added A.J. Green. I'm a big A.J. Green fan. He was great with the Bengals at one point in time, but he's awful now, or at least he was because of injuries. I won't put it on Joe Burrow because I think he's pretty good. But with all that being said, the Rams are the team to beat in the NFC West. Absolutely. I'm not the biggest Matthew Stafford guy, as most people know. I think he's trash. People say it's the Lions. We about to find out. So I'm putting all the chips to the middle of the table. All the pressure is on Matthew Stafford. They have the receiving core, Deshaun addition. I love Cooper Cup. I
Mm-hmm.
love Bob Woods, Cold. Um, and last year they
Yeah.
had 22 total forced turnovers and 25 turnovers total. So they were -3. If they can be +4, they might be the number one team in the NFC, and they might have home field advantage. So tough division, I agree. I don't know if it's the toughest division in football. It probably is. I would say the NFC leads, but we'll talk about that. Not because they're good, but because they're bad.
I mean, I do like that. Don't get me wrong. I like the Rams. I probably would pick them to come out of the NFC, but this division just will be. It's gonna be a toss up out of this division. It's gonna be gritty. They're gonna beat up on each other a lot this season. Um.
Yeah,
So
injuries.
next we're going to the NFC South with the Saints,
Yeah.
Buccaneers, Panthers, and Falcons. Darvin, you can go first on this one.
Um, obviously, I'm Tom Brady all the way. Bucks Super Bowl back to back, maybe 16-0. We'll keep
17
that on
this
the
year.
hush though. Oh yeah, 17-0. Oh, and the extra game, yeah, get that money, NFL, get that money.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, 20,
to
20
get
and 0.
it,
Yeah, 20
yeah,
0 get you the Super Bowl, and
to
that'll be the
get it,
first
so
time
20
ever
and 0 is Super
20
Bowl
and 0.
if they
So,
go all three
but
playoffs.
I like the
20
Saints.
and 0.
The defense for the Saints still nasty. They had the number
Shit,
5
it's a lot
defense.
of games,
They
boy.
turn people over. They stop the run. You don't run the ball on the Saints. I don't care who you got. So I'm expecting them to be in one of them wild card spots. Bucks, obviously, the cream of the crop, the crown of the division, the zenith, the apex, whatever you want to call it. Um, Panthers are awful. The only thing they got is fantasy value with Christian McCaffrey and Robbie Anderson. That's about it. And yeah, Sam Darnold sees ghosts. He
He
admitted
can't
that
stay healthy.
live on national television. I thought he was a solid quarterback coming out, but I think his psyche is broken from years and years of garbage he put up with the Jets and their coked out coach. But the Falcons, their defense is god awful, and the Cowboys picked up 2 of their players, but their defense got no better. Kyle Pitts, I love him. I think it's a great pick. It was an obvious pick. If they didn't get him, the next team would have. Their offense is gonna be humming. They usually are. I like Matt Ryan, Matty Ice. Not the clutches guy, but they won't be able to overcome the defense. So Bucks, yeah, Bucks all the way. Super Bowl.
Once again, man, they're retooled, reloaded. I think that defense is probably the best in the NFL. You saw what they did. Again, when you can draw up a completely different defense that you've never run in the 2 weeks from the NFC Championship game to the Super Bowl to stop the third best quarterback in the league, and then arguably one or two quarterbacks in the league back to back weeks. The defense is there, so they've got that for me. Tom Brady, you can bet against Tom if you want to. I won't do it because I'm not gonna throw money away, right? So I like the Bucks. The Bucks will come out on top. The Saints,
Let's
to
go
me,
broke. Yes.
I think that they had a big opportunity in free agency to get a quarterback. I think Drew played I don't know if I'm gonna leave. Okay, I'm gonna leave for real game, and then you decide to stick with Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. That to me, I don't know what Sean Payton doing over there. Maybe he really likes Taysom Hill, but that's not it, man. Like, and I don't know if maybe this is the rebirth of Jameis, but right now the answer is no. They had a lot of opportunities to go get somebody in free agency, and they didn't. There was a lot of times that Russell Wilson was linked to them, that he wasn't happy in Seattle. They could have got something for him. There was a lot of times that they were linked to Deshaun before all of his stuff came out. They didn't make any moves. I think that's going to hurt them this year. And unfortunately, you're going to waste a year of Alvin Kamara's prime. You're going to waste a year where he is one of the best running backs in the league, going crazy. A lot of that is because he's one of the best pass catching backs out of the backfield. And now you have to, and Drew Brees loved the check down, and Michael Thomas loved the slant. Whatever drama Mike Thomas has going on, that's y'all boy. I don't know. Can't guard Mike, but Mike can't stay
Can't
healthy,
guard
and he's
Mike.
tweeting. So I don't know what that got to do. I hope
Oh,
so.
1 year he'll be back. He'll be back.
Ah,
He'll be ready. And the two guys you mentioned, Kamara and Mikey
Big.
Thomas,
Oh yeah.
big fantasy
Yeah,
guys.
that's it.
That's
Fantasy
the
wise,
only
yeah,
people they have on
exactly.
their team.
Yeah,
Only people they
and
have
the
on their team
Panthers for me,
offensively.
they have a good young receiving core. I think that they. I didn't get the move. I
Yeah.
didn't get the move for Darnold from Bridgewater. I thought Teddy Two Gloves had a fine year last year. He wasn't a world beater, but Sam Darnold isn't either. I thought it was again kind of a lateral move. You didn't really get better with Darnold. Maybe Denver might have won that situation by getting Teddy Bridgewater because Drew Lock might throw 5 interceptions in the game, so they have a guy that can actually go in there now. The Falcons, to me, I like the Falcons, the defense. I do think they got fleeced by the Titans on that Julio deal, but that's none of my business. But they do have, again, Calvin Ridley, young receiver that's been tearing it up. I think Matt Ryan has, this might be it, or he has one more year left in the tank before he calls it quits. But
Yeah.
the Bucks are by far ahead of this. There's nobody close to them in this division. Honestly, there's only one, maybe two teams that are close to them in the entire NFC. So they got it to me.
I mean,
I love your guy too, my
Hey,
boy
you
Calvin
got it.
Ridley. Love him.
Bucks are for sure gonna win this division. Like it probably won't even be close, to be honest. Like, bringing back all 22 starters, having another year with Tom Brady in a full off season, it's probably gonna be really scary for the NFC. Especially with AB coming back for a whole off season, and Coach Coach Arian said that AB's looking like he's about as fast as he was 4 to 5 years ago when he coached them at the Steelers around that time. So it might get
Scary.
real shaky. Yeah, real. They bringing back a lot of pieces, and so won't even waste my time talking about them
All of
because
them.
so I have a very very hot take. No, not be too hot.
What do you mean by that?
The Saints might be one of the worst teams in football this coming up year. Um,
You think the quarterback play gonna drop off like
it's
that,
a
or do
combination of that, and they have no weapons. Their best weapon is Alvin Kamara, and then after that, it's Traquan Smith. Or if you want to throw Taysom Hill in there, he's their next best option because Mike Thomas probably won't play half of the season. After that, they don't have any other receivers for Jameis to throw the ball to. They have a good O line and they do have a good defense still, but they won't make the playoffs if you ask me.
Hmm.
I feel like Jameis won't have the weapons to throw a ball deep like he usually is. He's hard to find a check down for Alvin Kamara. If he's learned from Drew Brees, he will throw the check down this year. But if we look at years past, the check down isn't his friend. He likes to air it out. So we'll see how the year goes. But I do not have high hopes for the Saints this year. But we will see. I might be biased because I live here now, but I do think the Panthers will take a step up this year. I think they'll be better than the Falcons. They have their defense took a lot of upgrades this year. They just drafted C.J. Horn, added Hassan Reddick on the other side of Brian Burns. Then they have Big Derek Brown in the middle from Auburn, and then they have Jeremy Chin in the back. Was probably one of the best defensive rookies in the league last year. Maybe should have won defensive rookie of the year, or I mean Chase Young should have won it, but it was up for debate. Had a great year. So and then they have
yeah, he's
Dante
good.
Jackson on the other side. So their defense will be pretty stout next year. Um, Offensive wise, they have CMC coming back to help Sam Darnold. I'm not saying Sam Darnold's gonna be any world beater or anything like that, be a top 10, top 15 quarterback, but he doesn't have to be. I feel like for him to win a couple of games. They was in a lot of games last year to where they lost by a touchdown or a couple points, and um, just I feel like this year with another year of Matt Rule under the lead with Joe Brady that they'll win some of those games and be better. And then we have the Falcons. I mean, offense is going to be stellar. Defense is going to be bad. They don't have any pass rushers really other than Grady Jarrett, and he's an interior, so he can get double teamed, especially when there's nobody on the outside. Um, Yeah, I mean, Matty Ice. There's nothing really else to add about that. Y'all hit everything on the head. So I think the Saints
Young
will.
Way Cool.
So what?
Young Way Cool, the kicker. He's back.
He got his he
Like
got
that whole
he
cool.
got his cleats stolen out the trunk in
He got his
Atlanta.
shoes
So
stolen. Hey, boy. He tricked one, and when they he didn't trick it. The wind
Chris
got him.
actually got him for
Got
his
him for his cleats.
cleats.
He said, I don't even want the G back. Just give me the cleats, bro.
Alright.
Shado ran off with his shit. But yeah, so
Golly.
that division wrapping up. Everyone has the Bucks winning that division. Pretty unanimous. So now let's go
Unanimous,
to the
yeah.
NFC North with your Vikings, Darvin. We have the Vikings, Lions, Bears, and Packers. Um,
Oh my.
Boy,
so Braxton, you can go first on this one.
man, number 12 is back. A lot of the talk about him this offseason, the breakup that is ensuing. I think it's the farewell tour for Aaron Rodgers out of Green Bay. That's it for me. He's going to take him back to that NFC Championship game against the Bucks. I don't know if he has what it takes to get past Tom and the boys, but again, that offense you talk about Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams might be top 2 route runners in the league, and he's not number 2. So him is one of the most dynamic weapons. I mean, and even the other weapons around him that kind of help offset him. You know, Aaron Jones in the backfield. Tanyan had a couple good grabs every now and again. That receiving core, there's still some question marks, but I think the fact that they can have other guys make big plays when needed to kind of, again, take the pressure off of Devontae Adams, you take the pressure off of Aaron Rodgers, that team is going to be able to go. I like the defense. They had a young secondary last year that made a lot of plays that I think that they'll be able to step up again this year and hopefully get back to that. Again, that NFC Championship game is about as high as I have them going. The Lions, hard to say. I think they're still in kind of
That's
that
not hard
rebuild
to
mode.
say.
You know,
They're
you
gonna
go
be
from
bad.
Stafford to Goff. They're going to be bad. I don't know. You have DeAndre Swift who's coming, who's getting that sophomore season. Maybe he could be a spark. They're not gonna make any noise.
Maybe.
Maybe, who knows?
Maybe that car turned over. Maybe it
And
will.
they in the Motor City for a reason.
It ain't got no
And
battery in it, but maybe it'll turn
no
over.
man, the Vikings. I like the Vikings defense, and again, I think that they're gonna be a team.
Be nice,
No, no,
man.
no, no.
Yeah.
Y'all still riding with Kirk, who said he wanted to be in plexiglass instead of, being out there, whatever he had to say, man. I think that the defense is going to be a strong suit for that. I like their linebacking core has always been pretty solid. Babar, Kendricks, guys like that. The Bears, I always tell you, Justin Fields, to me, is the starter week 1. I know they're talking a lot about Andy Dalton has been balling over there lately, but maybe they protect Justin Fields as an asset long term. I do think they have a lot of weapons that are around, but I just don't know how that scheme is right away. I think it's going to take some. I think Justin Fields has the most potential out of that draft class at quarterback, but I also think the upside is going to be tougher because of the situation he's stepping into. Don't kill me. I'm not talking bad about your boy. What I'm saying is
Okay.
he's going to
No, I hear you perfectly. Yeah.
he is going to have he's going to take some licks, but I think when it all said and done, he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks out of this draft, one of the best players out of this draft.
So before the season starts, I am, Colts fan for sure, but I will be an avid Justin Fields supporter. He will never do any wrong in my eyes. But with that being said, I think the Bears will be. I mean, they were a playoff team last year. They'll be decent still. Not with Andy Dalton at quarterback though. Not. We've seen that. We've seen that last
No.
year with
The
a
Red
fully
Rifle.
loaded Cowboys team that has a lot of weapons. The Bears have not nearly enough weapons as the Cowboys, so don't see that really going anywhere with him starting. Defense is going to be, good like always. Khalil Mack is not making as much noise as he used to. He's still one of the best defensive players in the league, but he doesn't make his stats don't say it. You know. Um, they
Right.
still have Eddie Jackson. They still have a lot of good pieces. They'll be our team. They might make the playoffs, might not. I really would like to see Justin Fields and Allen Robinson link up a couple times this year. I would love to see Justin Fields play. Not early though. Let Andy Dalton go out there and get them licks. It wouldn't bother me none. If Justin Fields sit the whole year, as long as they're prepping them and getting them right the right way. With the Lions, they're more like the kitty cats. Their coach is trying to bite knees and do up downs with a hurt knee. So,
Bro,
bro,
up downs, bro.
They they didn't want to be there. They didn't want to be there. I think
but
they
shout out
know
Jeff
just as much
Okuda.
as we know what's going to happen.
Hopefully he has a maybe. Hopefully he has a
Yeah,
better
Jeff.
year. Um, but yeah, just I mean the Lions are Lions. They're going to lion. So, but they're not going to roar. If anybody could tell me a receiver that they have off the top of the head, I'll cash out them $5. Um, let's see. The Vikings. I do respect the Vikings. I respect their team. They had a good. I mean, they came on strong last year. Like Dalvin Cook. He was on my fantasy team. So shout out to Dalvin Cook. Had a great year. Kirk Cousins is a special character. I'm just going to leave it at that. Um, I do like
You
How
like
you rock
that?
Jay
that?
Jets though. Justin Jefferson is cold. That was a great pick. I love Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
He brings like a swag to the game, like the great receivers did. Um, Edelman is a great possession
Yeah.
receiver. They have weapons. They'll be good. They'll probably win like 10 games, maybe. Defense still be good. Their secondary has always been questionable though. They drafted a corner, and then they brought back. They brought in Pat P. Pat P. So that'll help a little bit. Still have
Pat Pete.
Harrison Smith. He's
Yeah.
getting a little older, but he still, has some tread on the tires. He'll make it do. Um, then we come around to the Packers. That's what I went into division too. I mean, it's not really no secret. Even though they had a lot of turbulence during this offseason with Aaron Rodgers doing Jeopardy more than he was in the quarterback meeting rooms. Uh, but with a quarterback like that, he won't miss a step. It's really just about like the players around him. Are they going to be motivated to feel like this is his last year, so we should go all out for him, or is it like is he going to be able to get them together and be like fuck the organization, fuck the general manager, and rally up and try to win a Super Bowl in his last year. If he go out sad like last year, it's gonna be ugly. So he's gonna have to get it done this year. I feel like they made a shaky kind of draft pick with the corner they took, Eric Stokes. He has a lot of developing to do. I feel like for them to help, but I guess anyone helps
Right.
more than Kevin
Yeah.
King. He got burnt by Scotty Miller like 4 times in the NFC Championship game. Awful. But
Right
yeah, they'll
before
be
the
good.
half, that was
Jair
awful.
Alexander,
Come
top
on.
5 corner in the league. Robert Tonyan is definitely a good tight end. Has some weapons. Brought back Randall Cobb. I mean, Randall Cobb. I mean, he's not. Yeah, I mean, he's not really.
Oh,
But that's
that
what Aaron
was that
Rodgers
good.
Corn
wanted.
on the cob.
Yeah, he trusted him. He trusts him.
You could have
So
brought back Jordy
if that's who
Nelson.
you
That's what
want,
you
go
wanted.
get him. But other than
Yeah.
that, yeah, they need to bring back David Bakhtiari.
Yeah. To make him happy.
If not the best left tackle, one of the best left tackles in the league. Get him back healthy. Get him back on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when that will be. He tore his ACL kind of late in the season last year, so it'll probably be a while. But yeah, I still have the Packers winning. Don't know if they win the Super Bowl, but they'll make it far.
I'll start with the Bears too. I like the Bears. They got a good defense. They'll always have a good defense. You name the pieces. Jackson in the secondary, and then they got Khalil up front, and then Roquan lurking around there in the middle. Um, But I agree with Braxton. The situation is more the thing with Justin Fields. Maybe it's not the best situation. Maybe it is. But he's the key to their season, their success, and their future. So they got to make it work with him. Regardless, whatever he needs, whether he want to throw slants or overs or whatever he need, whatever he want to do,
Yeah.
they need to let him do it. And they have potential. That's the word I would use to describe the Bears. The Lions are dog water. I mean, damn. They forced 12 turnovers last year and turned the ball over 21 times. Minus 9. Their quarterback is Jared Goff, who the Rams paid $120 million to and took at least $30 million or $28 million dead money to say, here, don't play for us anymore. He's awful. Their coach is worse. My Minnesota Vikings, I love the team. Like you guys said, the defense is on paper pretty solid. Pat Pete edition, I love. Harrison Smith still getting it done. Best linebackers in football: Anthony Barr, Eric Kendricks, and then Danielle Hunter on the line. But we go to the offense. We got Jay Jeffers, my boy. Um, Adam Thielen, dog. And then Irv Smith Jr. is pretty solid. The offensive line is not the best in the world, but Kirk Cousins is Captain Kirk is just awful. Like he had his best season 2 years ago. We got to play the 49ers and get stomped out. Not as bad as Aaron Rodgers did, but I'm thinking they're number 2 in the division in front of the Lions and the Bears, but the Packers are the best team in the division. I love Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
A part of me wanted to see him beat Tom Brady, although I knew he wouldn't. I won a lot of money on that. Thank y'all folks out there who paid me. They're the second favorite in the NFC. I think an NFC championship game, and then I think an NFC championship game between him and Tom Brady comes down to a couple plays at the end of the game. You know, I said it last week, timeliness is next to godliness. Some of those plays you got to make at the end of the game, Rodgers. But this is last year in Green Bay, the last ride, the last dance. Him and Devontae Adams had that little post that they had. I like Devontae Adams. He's great. The rest of them people, I don't know if they're good or whether they just play with Aaron Rodgers. So maybe they could have added, maybe the Randall Cobb pieces will work out. Hopefully it does. I don't think they'll need him to win the division. Not the greatest competition. They'll have a good record. They'll be battling with the Rams and the Bucks for the number 1 team.
Yeah, I mean,
for
so that one was definitely unanimous as well. So now we go to the NFC least, and I've
yeah. And before you go, I just want to know
there was a reason.
that I'm so glad that we did this one last because it deserves to be last. This is the last. This yes. The symmetry. It's beautiful. Well laid out.
We should have had AB and Kalen on this episode. Those have been the 2 staunch reporters. Hey, when we first announced the pod, G, what did they tell you? Kalen said if anybody's talking about his Eagles,
they're dog water. But he's loyal to the soil. I can respect his pimping. Although he didn't make any money when they went to the Super Bowl.
They about to get talked about, so we can talk it out, or we can duke it out. You feel me?
AB Kalen, if you see this,
AB is a Jet.
So NFC least, we're gonna start it off with the Washington football team. First off, they still don't have a logo. They still don't have a mascot. They're still just a football team after another year. After all these years of knowing that they're going to eventually have to change their team name, they can't even come up with a name. But with that being said, I really, really do like the Washington football team. I really do. Like, their defense is great. They have a lot of Ohio State boys on their team. They have Curtis Samuel. They have Scary Terry. They have, Chase Young. Defense is crazy, though. Montrez Sweat, Deron Payne, Chase Young. That front four is ill. And then linebackers fly around. DBs fly around. They have their defense is good. They're going to be good for years to come. They're very young. They have their ceiling is up on defense for sure. I like Ron Rivera. He is a proven coach in this league, proven head coach in this league. Went to the Super Bowl 1 year, lost though, but still went. Says a lot about the rest of the coaches. But I just cannot. Ryan Frick's tragic. I can't get behind it. I just cannot. We've seen it. Like, we've seen it look good to begin with in the season every time, and then you just get down the stretch and it's bad. It is really, really just terrible, you know. And their backup, what's his name? Taylor Heineke. He played the game against the. Yeah, he was straight. Like in the Buccaneers game, he played straight, but I really just can't get behind Ryan Fitzpatrick. I love every other part of the team, though. To be honest, love every other part of the team. Just can't get behind that. Like the running back Antonio Gibson too. I feel like he's a sleep running back. He's pretty good. Look out for him in fantasy this year if you need backup running backs.
Yes.
Y'all don't take him though because I will be mad. So now we'll go to the Eagles. Jalen Hurts. He showed promise last year. He had a couple years. He had a couple games where he played good. A couple games where he was just all right. I don't trust their coach, even though he is a old Colts OC. We all know Frank Wright is the offensive mind behind that situation over there. But he has some shaky press conferences, shaky things about that. So we'll see. They have Miles Sanders. I mean, their defense is not going to be any good, to be honest. They still have Darius Slay. He's getting older though, so Eagles are going to. It's going to be a. And then Jalen Reagor was out of shape coming into camp. He had some other stuff going on. Couldn't really focus on football, so he didn't have the best year last year. So we'll see what they have this year. But they had Devontae Smith, a Bama boy. See what he does. I think he is not the best receiver coming out of that class. He probably got drafted in the right spot, like below Jamar Chase and below Waddle. But they have some weapons around Hurts. We'll see where they take him. If they plan to move on from him for Deshaun Watson will be interesting because that name keeps coming up often, even though he has to get through his legal troubles first. So, yeah, the Eagles will probably be the worst team in that division. No, they'll be bad. The Giants, I do like the Giants. I like they have a lot of pieces. Like, with a lot of good teams, they have somebody in the secondary, somebody, in the front on the D-line. So they have Leonard Williams and they have James Bradbury. James Bradbury had a very good year last year. And so did Leonard Williams. He got paid. So, and their coach, Joe, even though Joe Judge had them running laps and doing up-downs like they were Wichita South High School doing punishment, and they had 3 players retire right after that. Bro, I'm not gonna cap if I was in the league and I was doing up downs and running 100-yard gas, what it was running around the field and doing push-ups or something. I'm cool. Like, I'm in the league. I'm a grown ass man. I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm a grown ass man. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But the weapons on that team is about to be ill. Like, they got Evan Ingram. They signed Kenny Galladay. They still have what's that boy name? Sterling Shepard. And Darius Slayton. So they have a lot of weapons. They have Saquon Barkley coming back to help Daniel Jones out. But that's really the key right there. Daniel Jones, as is the most important position on the field. He had an 80-yard run and blew a gasket 10 yards away from the end zone. He has a Whopper Jr. hands. He can't hold on to the ball. He doesn't. It's not even that he doesn't throw interceptions. He fumbles the ball in the pocket a lot as well. If he can take the next step, I can see the Giants being really good. Actually,
He
Their
fumbles the
offensive
ball.
line has to get
Yes.
better though. Their offensive line's been bad for years now. They can't figure it out. But they have Andrew Thomas coming in for another year. So hopefully they can figure it out. But crazy enough to say, I have the Cowboys winning the NFC East. Have Zeke coming back. Zeke looks good. Lost 10 pounds over the season. He looks good. I was just watching Hard Knocks actually. Dak is having problems with his shoulder, so we'll see how that goes throughout the year. But drafting Micah
Good show.
Parsons, adding that with Jalen Smith and Vander Esch, DeMarcus Lawrence,
Parsons.
Diggs getting another year, drafted as safety. I feel like they're getting Dan Quinn, a 4-3 guy rather than a 3-4 guy like they had last year. They don't have the players for a 3-4. I don't know why they ran it last year. And that's why they was getting smoked so bad last year. Their defense will be just a little bit better, and that's all they need. They still scored 34 points with Dak at quarterback a game because that receiving core is ignorant. You got Amari Cooper, you have Michael Gallup, and you have CeeDee Lamb. So I had the Cowboys,
Devastating.
Braxton's former favorite team, switch sides, winning the division. But after that,
Gone.
Nah, that's your team.
So after
I had to become an
after they win
objective
the division,
reporter.
that'll probably be
I don't have
my
a
exit.
favorite team
But I do
anymore.
have them winning
I gave
the division
I gave all my Cowboy stuff to AB.
Yes.
Per usual. No, way I see the NFC East is everybody's sus.
Right.
You know, we was playing Among Us. Everybody's sus, man, and it's the least sus is going to come out of this division alive. To me, the most sus in this situation is the Philadelphia Eagles, and a lot of the reasons as to what G-Work said. I mean, yes, they have. I think Jalen Hurts has ability to take a step. I mean, get a full year under his belt. You know, he doesn't have to worry about the win situation. He's the starter going into week one. Like, we know that this is his team now. You get a guy like Devontae Smith. Is he healthy? Is he not? That's going to be interesting to see. But other than that, this Philadelphia team, like you said, they got Darius Slay on the other side, but this is not. Something has to come together for this team to actually make it happen. Washington, for me, they have the least sus defense out of them all. Like you said, all those Ohio State guys. Chase Young, I think, is going to have a great sophomore season. They're the least sus on defense, but their offense is extremely sus. And you look at it, and, you know, Fitzmagic's won some crazy games that he probably shouldn't have won, but he'll probably be the starter week one. No telling what he's going to put on the field. The Giants and the Cowboys are both equally sus to me, and I'll tell you why. Actually, no, the Giants are a little more sus on offense because we don't know when Saquon's going to play because Saquon doesn't know when he's going to play. And he said it all along, I'm not going to rush back because this is really my first chance. This is my only chance that I'm going to have to be able to get back to where I was running the ball. He's not going to rush it to be back week one for a team that might not make the playoffs. If it's week two, maybe. If it's week four, maybe. His timetable is different than any other running back we've seen coming back from an ACL injury. He wants to make sure that this is correct. He wants to make sure that he's going to have that long haul going forward. Daniel Jones, you got to do. It depends on what Daniel Jones you're going to get on Sunday. That's what that Giants team is going to be made of.
Exactly.
It's going to be an interesting thing. He has the weapons around him. Some days look like a world beater where he can actually say, "Damn, Daniel Jones was they got it right with the draft pick." Then there's other days it's like, yo, he has to be benched immediately. So what Daniel Jones are you going to get? And that does leave the Cowboys as the least sus on both sides of the ball. They're the least sus team on defense. Like G said, their draft picks were good. Their linebacking core, they call themselves the Hot Boys, but they be getting lit up, so that might be why they call themselves the Hot Boys. The offensive line, the Cowboys used to have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, and Zeke feasted behind it. Joseph Randall feasted behind it. But then bless you, but then they let that fall apart. It's going to be the least us on defense. at least us on offense. That receiving core is what carries them. Zeke is going to have a big year for me. Last year, it didn't look like Zeke of old. I don't know what it was. G said he is lighter, and I think that's kind of the thing we were seeing. He was a little bit bigger last year. Hey, chilling. After looking like AB with a beard. But I definitely think that the Cowboys are going to come away with the division. A first-round exit, that's what they always do. It does depend a lot upon what Dak does, too, off of that injury. He got his bag. You can't say you plan for a contract anymore. You have it. You can't say that you're, waiting out, holding out for a deal. No, they've paid you. Now you got to put up or shut up. So I think the Cowboys are going to come out of the division, early exit, and then they finesse their way into the middle of the first round again and spend it on a defensive back. We wash, rinse, repeat with this cycle that is Dallas Cowboy football.
I want to be lenient and say top 10.
If he's about top 10, he's 10. If not 10, he's 11.
I don't think I would go top 10 either,
Mayfield.
honestly. Like,
11, 12, yeah.
I mean, because
I hate Baker Mayfield, so I'm going to say Dak Prescott, but that's biased. But Baker's situation is also 10 times better. Baker has Dak's situation when he was
a lot better. Right, yeah.
I'm going to start with the Giants and the Eagles. Both of these teams are absolute hot garbage. They have, if they weren't such historic teams, there would be reason to move. The Eagles might not win a game. The Eagles might beat the Giants. I don't know what y'all saw in Jalen Hurts. Maybe I was watching the games that y'all was watching, but I didn't see anything. I thought the one game he won that was impressive was the Saints, and that was because Drew Brees was awful. That had nothing to do with his ability to throw the ball. He's not a great thrower of the ball. He can run. If any of these teams that play the Eagles have any defensive scheme whatsoever, contain him, keep him in the pocket, force him to throw the ball, you get a bunch of sacks, don't let him run with it. 0-16 potentially. The receivers, I like Devontae Smith. I don't like Alabama at all, but I like Devontae Smith. I like the Bama receivers. He's super skinny. People are doubting him. If he can stay healthy, he can play. But the only thing that's bad about that is, like Grayson said, he has Jalen Reagor to look to be an example for him.
He's a Patriots. Yeah.
He's the most veteran receiver that they have. And I think they have Brick Hands Aguilar back maybe. Or I don't know. He's with the Patriots, I think. Yeah, he's with the Patriots, right? But, I mean, the Eagles, they might not win a game. The Giants are equally bad. Theirs more comes down to the coaching a little bit because, like you said, the running, they didn't seem like they was happy with what they had them doing. They have a great running back who can't stay healthy. I love Saquon. He's a Big Ten guy, Penn State. Watched him a lot. Watched him run over Ohio State. Still lost, but and then Daniel Jones, he can't. He's just not. I don't know what you guys see in him either. I think if he takes a couple of steps, y'all said the next step. If he takes 2 steps after the next step, he's a backup quarterback. The Cowboys in Washington. Washington, in my opinion, will win the division. They have the best defense. They were the number 4 defense last year, and they're going to get better. Ronald Darby, the corners are a little suspect, but if you get pressure, you can make them look not suspect. Chase Young is potentially one of the best defensive ends, right there with Nicky Bosa as one of the younger defensive ends. Cowboys should win the division. They have all sugar, spice, and everything nice. They got the great running back. They have a fringe top 10 quarterback. The offensive line is hurt. We'll see what they do if they can actually get on the field and play. The defense, DeMarcus Lawrence, they paying him like he's a top guy. I don't know if he is, but he's certainly being paid like it. Ezekiel Elliott, I feel so bad. I love Zeke. He's my favorite running back in the NFL. I'm so sad that his talents are being wasted with such an awful organization. Jerry Jones needs to retire or kill off. I'm probably not supposed to say that, but the Cowboys should win the division. They will not because, as Stephen A. says, they will do cowboyish things and they will blow it. Um, they have a light schedule as well. Extremely light schedule. Of course, they play the Giants and the Eagles who won't win a game. So this is just an awful division. I wish there was other things they could put in the time slot for their games. And only relevancy for these games is fantasy. So I'm not looking forward to watching any of the games from this division, including Washington. And they got some of my favorite guys: F1 McLaurin, Chase Young, but Washington will win, and they might have like a 5-9 or whatever, 5-6 or a 9-6 record. And the Cowboys will not win a playoff spot. I got the Rams, the Bucks, the Packers, Washington, the
that's
Seahawks,
love
and
for
the
your
Saints
team right there.
and then we got one more. I'll give it to the Vikings. No way the Cowboys make the playoffs.
They almost made the playoffs last year, even though they had a slump at the beginning of the season.
Hey, you said they win 10 games. If they win 10 games, they make the
thing
playoffs.
about the
100%.
damn Giants, they have Jason Garrett at OC. Like,
good luck.
Yeah,
we've seen that offense so many times. Not anymore. And like, it's crazy how like coaches like Jason Garrett.
At least he can't go 8-8.
Actually,
he can't go 8-8. He got to be one way or the other. After all, he got to be one way or the other.
Bro. I feel, and that's the part of the thing that's going to be with Daniel Jones. It's like, is he going to be able to get the coaching that he needs to take that, next baby step up even? So we'll see. I feel disgusting after picking the Cowboys to win this division. I might have to get in the shower after we get off this. I feel disgusting.
You should.
What Stephen A. say?
You should.
If it can't go wrong, it will
right
go
on the cusp. It can come down to the last game, and they'll trick it off. They'll fuck it up.
Be on one, bro.
But
it will go.
So we're gonna wrap it up.
Yes.
Anything that caught your interest on social media this week? Any thing coming out this weekend that y'all looking forward to? Any news and music space or anything
I did see that,
want to talk about?
Malice in the Palace. That it's like an hour doc dropped on Netflix today, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. From what I've heard, Netflix is doing like a series called Untold, and it's basically just like untold stories. So what I've heard is that this is all from the Pacers' point of view. So they got Jermaine O'Neal, they got Ron Artest, so a lot of that. So I'm gonna probably sit down and watch that. And then Summer League heating up. There's a lot of dudes out there fighting for a chance, and it could be some games on. So it's kind of cool to see that too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when it is, but the Dustin Poirier Charles Oliveira fight, I'm excited to see that whenever it is. For I think it's the welterweight, or maybe it's the one under that, the 155 championship. I'm super excited to see that. I think I don't know who to pick. That would be a tough one to bet, but I'm super excited for that. Glad to see the summer league some on other than baseball. But shout out to baseball.
Yeah. Speaking of like the fighting, Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao fight got canceled because of his red nose messed up, and then we lost the Western fight not too long ago. The trilogy with Tyson Fury and
Wilder. Good point.
Wilder. And that's the thing with like boxing is taking the steps back that like real boxing, like the actual professional boxers, like people are because we can't see the spikes that we want to see. Like we'll get them eventually, but they're not happening when we want to. Like we didn't get to see Pacquiao, Floyd when they were in their prime, and that's like where the mixed martial arts is kind of taking over. They're not getting a payday, but you're getting the fights that you want to see.
Yeah, the UFC pays their athletes 18% of the revenue and that's like the lowest leg of all sports. How sick is that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Dana White getting
Dana White getting off.
like running. But speaking of that,
Um,
Steven Wynn, Wichita dude, about to get back on the contender series.
Heights
I think
High
he
School.
fights coming up soon. Yeah. So he's trying to get back on. I know he had that opportunity. Okay. So shout out to him. I know Dana White been big on him for a minute, so I think he need to go ahead and get that back.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out anybody from Wichita. Definitely room for anybody from the hometown. So good luck to him and his endeavors in the fight world. So be looking for us on all places. So find your podcast, Apple Podcasts, the Google Podcast, Spotify. Watch the videos on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube at The Workshop by G-Work. Follow us on all that stuff at the end of this video, and we'll see you.
All right,